There's been tons of horrible NBA trades in NBA history, but what was the worst one in the past 10 years? Now, your mind instantly goes to a few of them. The most notable that a lot of you are probably thinking of is the Luka Doncic trade for Anthony Davis, and that one was really bad. But I have one that might change NBA history as we know it. One that might make us look at the end of the 2020s differently than if it never had happened. If you still don't know what I'm talking about, I'm obviously talking about the Paul George trade. He's in the thumbnail. I mean, come on, you guys saw it. This trade, again, not only affected both of these teams' trajectory crazily, but will probably end up creating a dynasty when we look at it in the future. On July 6, 2019, Paul George got traded to the LA Clippers, and this sent shockwaves through the NBA. I mean, it was at like 2 a.m. he got traded. Paul George was getting paired with Kawhi Leonard, who the Clippers had just acquired from the Raptors. Everyone knew that when Kawhi got traded to the Raptors, he was on the last year of his deal, and he did not want to be there. He still played his heart out, won a championship for the team, but everyone knew that he was probably going to one of the two LA teams, and he went to the Clippers. So the front office, and probably him, because he was the star of the team, he probably had a lot of say in this, decided to trade for Paul George. Now, what was this trade? Let's look back at it. It was pretty bad in the moment. Paul George got traded for Shai, Danilo Gallinari, 4 unprotected first-round picks, 1 protected first-round pick, and 2 pick swaps. Again, at the moment, it was pretty crazy. I remember 14-year-old me in my room thinking, this is a dumb trade, but I kind of understand it. And when I took a look back at a few content creators that I really respect, Kenny, all that stuff, they seem to agree with my thoughts at the moment. But a lot of the time when you trade for a star like this, you do have to overpay. Just look at that Rudy Gobert trade, right? You have to overpay for a player like this. It's the name of the game. Some of why we think it's dumb is just hindsight. Hindsight is 2020. But again, let's just take a look at this trade in the present. Let's look at the statistics. Let's check if this was a good trade in the moment. Shai was a borderline top 10 pick. He was picked 11th in a loaded draft class. He was a Kentucky guard. His rookie season was not that good. You couldn't really tell that he was going to become the MVP player that he is now, but you could see flashes of it. I mean, you could see that he was very shifty. He was clean. He had great vision. He made great decisions. All of that was there. You just had to mold him. And I'm not saying that the Clippers would have done that. Obviously, they're not known for player progression, but you could have kept him. Paul George is also great. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to probably say a few semi-borderline mean things about Paul George. And I want you guys to know it's all love between me and Paul. Don't beat me up. He would easily beat me up. I don't know. I might be able to run a little faster than him. My knees still work. It's not a funny joke. My fault. But the only reason they got this much for him was the previous season. He had some inflated stats. He averaged a career high in points, if I'm not mistaken, up to this moment, and he finished 3rd in MVP voting. He wasn't really close to winning it because Harden had an amazing season, and Giannis, as we know from the future, won the award because he was crazy. But along with that career high in points, he averaged a career high in minutes played and shots attempted. The team really just needed him to be this player that he really never was in his career. I mean, in Indiana, we saw some great years of him, but he never really was this MVP level player. I think he only finished top 10 in MVP voting once. So again, a bit of a outlier year. They really needed him to play well next to Westbrook, and they flamed out in the playoffs in crazy fashion. So again, basically, Paul George is a great player, probably a Hall of Famer, but this season was inflated, and that's why they got such a crazy package for him. And this stuff was known at the time of the trade. I mean, you have Kawhi, so Paul George is not going to be getting a crazy amount of shots when you have Kawhi Leonard. You got to split the shots. You got to share the ball. So obviously his numbers are going to go down a little bit. I'm not going to talk about that. I think he played pretty well in the games that he did play. Again, foreshadowing what I'm about to talk about. Each season, he played barely any games. I have it written down. 48 games played, 54 games played, 31 games played, 56 games played, and again, outlier number, 74 games played in his final season. 5 seasons with this team, barely any games played. He played half the season most of these years. And looking at the playoff picture, I have it written down here as well. 2020, they lost in the conference semifinals to the Nuggets. 2021, they lost in the conference finals. The furthest they got to the Suns. 2022, they missed the playoffs. 2023, they lost in the first round against the Suns. Next year, they lost in the first round against the Mavericks. So again, in these trades, it's kind of a all or nothing move. If you win a championship, I'm not sitting up here talking about this trade as one of the worst in NBA history. But since they didn't even make it to the finals, they didn't have a real chance of winning a championship, I got to talk about it, you know? But enough of the Clippers side of things. Let's go to the OKC Thunder side of things. Obviously, I don't even have to mention it. They got a ring. Shai won MVP last year. He might win it this year. Again, he's playing crazy. They're winning a bunch of games. He's not even playing in the fourth quarter. SGA fans, consider this probably my video for SGA being amazing and this team being amazing. Not only did they get Shai, you know, a MVP level player every single season, but they also got a ton of draft picks. So let's look at a few of these draft picks. One of these picks turned into J-Dub, this team's second star. One of the best Robins to a Batman in the NBA, if you want to call him that. Obviously, giving up a draft pick, you know, unprotected, you run the risk of somebody getting a great player like J-Dub. So that's their 2 best players they got from this trade. But also, something that a lot of people don't talk about is when you trade away both of your star players, one of them being Paul George, you suck. During this time where they sucked and they were rebuilding, they got Chet Holmgren, their 3rd star, their defensive anchor. I mean, so now the top 3 players on this team were basically from this trade. They started the rebuild. They were like, we don't want to have Paul George, Russell Westbrook, and a bunch of nobodies, you know, Steven Adams, blah, blah, blah. We don't want them on our team. We would much rather suck for a few years and hopefully be amazing in like 5 years. And, you know, they are. One that I do not see a lot of people talking about is they drafted Josh Giddey almost right after this. Josh Giddey obviously didn't end up working out on this team, but who did they get for him? They got Alex Caruso, man. Again, one of the biggest players for their last year's championship run. He's a defensive monster. Other than Lou Dort, he's one of the best defenders on this team. He's a crucial 3-and-D guy. He's like the Derek White of this team. I mean, crazy trade, but we're not talking about that. So, in conclusion, why do I actually think this is the worst trade of all time? Well, there's a few factors. In other trades that you could consider in this conversation, some outliers like the Luka one, or some ones that you could kind of see the steps that they took to maybe make the trade and maybe think, hey, we're going to win a championship, it'll all be okay. And you could maybe take that stance with this one. But they were betting on Paul George, who had the best season of his career at like 30, to stay the same or get better. Somebody who broke his leg in half to stay healthy throughout the next 5 seasons to try and win a championship or multiple. You were expecting him to play at that, you know, MVP level. When he finished 3rd in MVP voting, you wanted him to stay there. And that's just not him. I mean, the Clippers made the trade thinking that they were going to get him. That's their stupid decision, not Paul George's fault, but still. And now the OKC Thunder have a borderline dynasty. The Warriors are fizzling out. All of these other teams are fizzling out. You got a few great teams, but the OKC Thunder seem miles ahead of them. And they're only going to get better. They got some good players. They got Thomas, Sorber, all this stuff. They still have the LA Clippers pick this year. The Clippers suck horribly. They're going to probably have to blow it up. If they do blow it up and they get some stuff back in return, this season is still nothing. I mean, they will probably give a top 10 overall pick to the championship favorites of this season, the OKC Thunder. So not only did you basically give you did give this team their 2 best players. You gave them a MVP level player, which Kawhi and Paul George didn't win MVP. They basically weren't even close in their tenure as a Clipper. You gave them their multiple-time MVP. I'm just going to predict the future. I think that Shai probably wins another one before he retires. You gave them their second star, J-Dub, a multiple-time All-Star in the future. That trade allowed them to suck for a few years, get all of the players that they needed for a championship level run, Chet, all that stuff, Alex Caruso, and now you are maybe giving them a top pick in this loaded draft class. In hindsight, it's stupid. In the moment, it was stupid. This is just crazy. And if the OKC Thunder win another championship, it's just going to get worse and worse. If they get a top pick, it's just going to get worse. Clippers fans, I'm sorry. I'm hating on this team so much. But this team is just so dumb. They've made a lot of dumb decisions. This one on top of all of them. So again, we'll have to see. The end of the season can really, really determine. I mean, obviously the Thunder won this trade, but we're going to see how bad it is. I would give this trade, the OKC Thunder get a A+ if we regraded this trade. And the Clippers get an F. You can't go any further than that. There's not even a grade. You could maybe give an S to the Thunder if they win another championship, if Shai wins another MVP. What are you going to give to the Clippers? You're going to give them nothing? You're going to give them a 0? That's an F. Actually, real quick, before I end this video, let's look up a grading of this trade at the moment. I'm going to leave you guys off with this. Sports Illustrated graded this trade. All right, get ready for this. A D for the Thunder and A+ for the Clippers. Just think about that. Just think about that, guys. That's all for this video. Peace out. Much appreciated for all the love. If you like these types of videos, let me know. I want to make what you guys want me to make. If you like my other videos where I talk about current things in the NBA, let me know. Love you guys, and peace.